This is a powerful dish.
Right now, from historic Bardstown in Louisville, Kentucky, it's Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs in front of a live studio audience. Hi, everyone. I'm Tim Laird along with Kevin Harmon.
And Tim, this time it's a taste of bourbon country.
If you notice, it's already open.
We're cooking with the head chef from the Bardstown Bourbon Company, where the food is just as good as the drink.
We're revealing the chef's secrets so you can make the same amazing food at home.
To me, this was kind of like a little miniature Thanksgiving dinner.
It is amazing.
It all starts right now on Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs. We're here at Bardstown in our kitchen theater. I'm Kevin Harnett, along with my broadcast partner, Tim Laird.
And Kevin, it's a great day to be in kitchen theater because I'll tell you what, we're making food that truly expresses the spirit of Kentucky. The chef from Bardstown Bourbon Company is here, and he's revealing the secrets to some of his favorite dishes from Kentucky's first distillery-based restaurant.
Well, that's right, Tim, and wait until you see what he's making. It's Kentucky comfort food at its finest, from pasta with braised duck to stuffed quail. We're doing it all and revealing the secrets so you can too.
It's time to get cooking, so let's meet today's guest chef. His favorite local ingredient comes straight out of a barrel. From the Bardstown Bourbon Company, say hello to Chef Stu Plush.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Stu, welcome in.
Thank you, Kevin. Nice to see you.
Well, it's
nice
great to see you. I've been to your place many times. Growing up in Nelson County, Bardstown essentially home to me, so I love it down there, and your food is amazing. You've been down there for more than about a half a decade now, and it's a great place to go and eat, and it's wonderful.
Yes, sir. I love it. Right in the heart of bourbon country.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to be there? I know that Tim's a fan of bourbon country.
I'm a big fan of bourbon country because I love what they produce. Bourbon. It's one of my friends. Anyway, but you have an interesting background. You actually started in graphic arts. Is that correct?
I did. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I did. I did that professionally for about 14, 15 years, and decided to turn in the computer for frying pan.
Well, that's a little different.
Yeah. Just still being creative, just in a different medium. For me, it was just kind of a natural progression of things. I've been cooking as long as I can remember. I have a picture of me cooking next to my grandmother standing on a stool when I was about 4 or 5 years old. So
aren't those the best memories?
Absolutely.
I think so too. My grandmother was a great cook too, and that's where I learned my baking. I love to bake. And what are we cooking today?
So for our first dish, we're doing a duck ragu.
Okay.
So, with that Bardstown Bourbon Company, what we like to do is try to bring in some flavors that will accentuate the bourbon, bring out some of those tasting notes that we see and love so much in our whiskey. So, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my duck in this pan. Now, for this dish, we do a little bit of a mixture of everything. We'll break down some of them, so I'll use leg quarters, thighs, duck breasts. We save our wings and things like that for our stock that we use for another dish on the menu.
All right.
This is going to be a braised dish. So we're going to get some coloration on this duck, and then we're going to finish it off with, we got a mirepoix here, some San Marzano tomatoes, a little bit of red wine to kind of finish it off. And then what I'll do is we'll finish this off in the oven. As we got this going here, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a little bit of my tomato paste. Just kind of start to get a little bit of color on that. All right, then we're going to add my mirepoix, okay? So my mirepoix is we have celery, onion, and carrot. I like to use 2 parts onion to 1 part, carrot and celery. I don't measure a whole lot. I just kind of cook as I go, but that's kind of a general rule of thumb.
Oh, that's interesting, though, 2-1-1. And by the way, the other thing on a professional chef, look, each piece is diced perfectly. I mean, that's great, chef. Good knife skills.
Yeah, well, thank you. I guess coming in as a graphic artist, I eat with my eyes first. They say we do eat with our eyes first. So to me, presentation is a lot of things. That first impression is really kind of what sells the dish.
Oh, you bet.
When you see it at the table and then when you smell it. So once you start getting this kind of cooked down and reduced down a little bit, started getting a little bit soft, I'm going to hit it with just a little bit of orange juice. Because like I was telling you guys earlier, some of our bourbons, oftentimes you'll get citrus notes, a little bit of orange, sometimes lemon and things like that.
Yeah.
But to me, orange and duck go hand in hand. They work really well together. So we're just going to add just a couple ounces of that just kind of let these vegetables kind of simmer in that a little bit.
That makes sense. And that orange juice, as it cooks down, it gets really nice and syrupy, almost sweet, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're right, the duck à l'orange, is that with the orange and another type?
Oh, look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants. À l'orange. Why can't you just say with orange juice?
Yeah.
And then there's duck, duck, goose. Let's see. That was for Christmas. No, anyway, I'm sorry, Chef. What
You're
else?
fine. So I don't always cook with bourbon. Sometimes cook with a little bit of wine as well. I like to say I like to cook with wine and drink my whiskey. So like I said, at the bourbon company, I don't cook with a ton of whiskey on the menu. Like I said, what I really like to do is try to bring those flavors that are going to pair really well with our dishes. So like if you look at our menu, for every course we have a bourbon pairing that we suggest, cocktail pairing for those that don't always imbibe in the straight whiskeys. So I just added a little bit of red wine, and I'm just going to finish it off. I'm just going to add a little bit of San Marzano. I just pureed these out a little bit, so we're just going to add a couple ounces of that, kind of get all that stuff kind of mixed in together. And then I'm going to add in my aromatics. All right, so what I have here is a little bit of orange zest, again, to kind of intensify that orange and that citrus note. Bay leaves, because everything's better with a bay leaf. And then we're going to finish it off with just a little bit of cinnamon. I love cinnamon with my duck as well. Again, cinnamon is a good tasting note that we pull from whiskeys. And it's also the fall flavors. You know, I put this in our fall and winter dish, and a lot of times when I'm thinking about fall and winter, I think of, you know, the basic spice and cinnamon and all those goodness things, and they just work so well with whiskey. I'm going to hit it with just a little bit of love, a little bit of salt. Everything's better with a little salt, a little bit of pepper. And then right before I pop it in the oven, I'm just going to add a little bit of chicken stock.
So you want plenty of liquid on there because you know it's going to evaporate and cook down. And
absolutely, and that's what we really want to happen, but we want to make sure that it's in there long enough to cook that duck and not just, you know, dry up on us. We've got it kind of simmering, boiling, ready to go, and it's ready to move down to the oven.
Our oven.
All right, perfect.
What do you usually have the oven at, Chef?
I'll set it about 325.
Okay, 325.
Kind of let it go. It's just kind of low and slow.
So because you are going to cook it for all that time, so 325 is about right.
Excellent, excellent. We're cooking with Stu Plush from the Bardstown Bourbon Company, and we've got a lot more secrets to share when we come back on Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs. Stay with us. Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs Kevin Harnett, Tim Laird, Stu Plush from the Bardstown Bourbon Company. Before we went to break, you had all that goodness in the pan. The duck ragu is about ready to come out of the oven, and
oh, look at the reduction.
2 hours later, by the magic of TV.
And you remember how liquid that was? And
yeah,
so
right.
It did cook down.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. But we're not finished. This isn't the end product.
No, absolutely.
All right.
So what we're going to do now is we want to get this duck off the bone, right? So like I said, we're going to kind of pull this like you would. You pull this like you would pulled pork or something like that. That way we can kind of toss it through our pasta and shred it through. So the easiest way is just to get in there with your hands, right? So be careful, it's hot. Like glove up, maybe double glove up. I've been doing this a while, so I have no more feelings, I don't think.
Chef hands. They can go into the hot stuff and not worry.
And it happens easily because it's been in there 2 hours, so it's going to fall off.
Absolutely. And just like, you know, when you're cooking pulled pork or brisket or any of those things, you want to make sure you cook it long enough and get it at a high enough temperature so it makes it nice and tender to pull. So a good rule of thumb, especially for people cooking this at home, if you pull it out there and it just seems like it's going to be just a little bit too tough, it's really hard to pull, you know, maybe just pop it back in the oven for a little bit longer, letting it soften up. It'll make your life so much easier. It's going to make it so much more enjoyable to eat. All right, so what I like to do is we'll get a little bit of that braising liquid in the bottom of the pan. We'll throw on my duck, however much or little that you like, depending on how many people you're cooking for as well. And then I like to toss it with just your favorite pasta of choice. Now at the restaurant we use a pappardelle. I like a little bit of a wider noodle to kind of help grab onto some of those, some of that braising liquid and some of that ragu. All I got to do now is we're just going to toss our pasta in here. All right, big healthy heaping.
And the starch of the pasta will help thicken it too. I mean, that'll be another thickening agent.
So all we're really trying to do now is just kind of get everything coated. And we're just trying to heat up that pasta a little bit. So, you know, if you cook your pasta 12, 13 minutes, if you're going to cook it that way, I like to tell people to just, you know, maybe undercook it just a little bit, a little al dente, because it is going to continue to cook a little bit more when we throw it in there, so your pasta doesn't get too mushy.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Can you all see that?
That is gorgeous.
We're ready to play.
We're ready to plate up. Right. Excellent, Chef. That looks so good. And I love the pappardelle noodle. I mean, it is one of my favorites. You know, it's just
Same.
like.
So what we'll just do is we'll just get a nice little bit of helping of the noodles right here in the middle of our bowl.
This is a powerful dish.
Yeah, so just going to kind of clean up my brim here a little bit, so I made a mess with
That's the graphic
with
artist
my
in you
tongs.
coming
That is
out.
me, yeah. And then all I'm going to do to finish this dish is just a little Asiago cheese. Just do a little bit of shredded top of that.
That's good too.
All right.
And I like the Asiago. It has a little saltiness to it, right?
A little saltiness, yeah. Works really well.
And it goes good with the bourbon too.
It does.
It does. I love cheese with bourbon. I'll definitely love cheese with bourbon.
I'll check that during the commercial.
Yeah. And then we're going to finish it off. One of my favorite little snacks. Sometimes you'll find me snacking on in the kitchen. Is just a little bit of fried sage. So I love sage with my duck. It works really well with those cinnamon flavors and stuff that go with it. And there we have it.
The duck ragu right there. Beautiful. Well, the great part is you all get to take a taste. We're going to bring the food out here in just a second. But folks at home, don't go away. We've got more secrets to share. Stu, you've got more dishes coming up.
Yes,
What are we making next?
So our next dish, we have cornbread stuffed quail.
Ooh.
Sounds
Cornbread
good.
stuffed quail.
You ready for that?
Yeah, I'm sticking around, Kevin.
All right, me too. We'll come back with the next dish from Stu Plush from the Bardstown Bourbon Company. You're watching Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs. Don't go anywhere.
The Wine Rack, bringing you wines, beers, spirits, and cheeses of the world for over 18 years. Local, independent, and now offering delivery from the heart of Crescent Hill and online at wineshoplouisville.com.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs. I'm Kevin Harnett. We've made our way over to the PNC Bank tasting table. These folks get a chance to take a taste first. Tell us how the chef did. Stu Plush worked hard on the duck ragu, and I've got Greta Chesler here. It's great to see you and everybody else at the table.
Great to be with you and my new friends and old friends.
Yeah, how have you enjoyed the show so far?
Fabulous.
You know, I think of Bardstown Bourbon Company. That's home to me, but a lot of folks haven't had a chance to make it down the road to Bardstown. Have you had a chance to go yet?
Not to the Bourbon Company, but I go to Bardstown every time at Christmas time.
Yeah, isn't that a
I
beautiful
love
time?
Bardstown.
It really is a quaint little town. Well, let me ask you to take a taste.
Okay.
Greta, we've got the duck, of course, the pappardelle noodle, the wonderful braising sauce. I'm curious to hear what it tastes like. All right, well, the bite is in, pappardelle. Of course, we have the cheese.
Tender, cheese,
Have a bite.
delicious.
Good sage. Yeah. Well, I tell you, and that's what food is meant. It's meant to share just like we're doing here, and isn't that good?
It's very good.
Yeah, tasty. Well, perfect. The duck, A+.
A+.
All right.
A+.
Well, we hope you're enjoying the show, but don't go away. We've got more secrets to share. Stu Plush, he's getting the stage set behind us. We'll come back on Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs.
Look and feel your best. Discover the possibilities at Corbett Cosmetic. Dr. Lee Corbett offers board-certified expertise in a variety of aesthetic surgeries with an honest, caring approach. Breast enhancement, tummy tucks, mommy makeovers, and more. The professionals at Corbett Cosmetic also offer a full-service med spa with Botox, medical-grade skincare, wrinkle fillers, and facial treatments. Corbett Cosmetic, conveniently located in Louisville's East End. Learn more at CorbettCosmeticSurgery.com.
Welcome back to Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs. I'm Tim Laird at the Kitchen Theater in Bardstown. This time we're cooking with Stu Plush from the Bardstown Bourbon Company. And how'd everybody like that duck ragu? Hey, and as promised in the commercial break, I thought I'd give it a little sip with the bourbon, and it paired up beautifully. That was very nice. And now
Is that where you went in the commercial break?
Yes, I did. I, just testing.
Taste testing,
You know.
quality control.
And then now we're going to do a cornbread stuffed quail, right,
Yes,
Jeff?
sir. To me, this was kind of like a little miniature Thanksgiving dinner. That's kind of the way I approach this one. So what I stuffed the quail with is a cornbread stuffing. All right, so I used some cornbread, a little bit of French baguette, some sage, chicken stock, but Broadbent Farms smoked sausage. So kind of like a breakfast sausage.
Oh,
but
nice.
again, I like using as many of the local ingredients as we can. I like to pre-cook my stuffing, make sure it's cooked all the way through, everything gets soft, tender, that sausage cooked, and everything is done. So that way all I got to do is make sure I get that quail done, I get it cooked to the internal temperature, and then everything's good to go. So we've got our quail that we've stuffed. I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of seasoning, a little salt and pepper. And just kind of like we did with the duck in the first dish, what we're really looking for is just get a nice little hard sear on that. So I'm just going to lay this breast side down. And I'm going to let it go just for a couple of minutes. All I'm really looking for is to just get a little bit of color, get a little bit of sear on it. But while that's going, we're getting the sear on that. We're going to have another component of the dish, and this is our sweet potato puree. All we did for this puree is I boiled sweet potatoes like you would for just about anything else. And then I pureed it out with a little bit of vegetable stock. And again, with a little bit of cinnamon, some of those baking spices and things that we're familiar with eating those candied yams. And then I mixed in for a sweetness just a little bit of maple syrup. Our last component that we're going to go with the dish is going to be a cranberry sauce. So to start this out is I'll get a little bit of some cranberries, okay? You can use fresh or frozen. Frozen is typically a little bit easier to find, year round.
Right.
And they also cook down really well. So all I'm going to do is get this in a little saucepan. I kind of just get those going a little bit.
Beautiful.
I'm going to add just a little bit of brown sugar to our cranberries because they're pretty tart. We want to sweeten them up just a little bit. But also as that sugar caramelizes, it's going to also kind of thicken up that liquid that it's going to cook out of those cranberries.
So you mean to tell me cranberries don't just come in a can?
Yeah, I found it out in my 30s as well. Yeah, right? So,
Right.
yeah, Mom's always did. So, all right, so you can see we've just got a little bit of color on that quail.
I love that.
All right, just getting a little bit of color, a little bit of sear there. And I'm going to drop this into a 400-degree oven. And it's going to take about 10 to 12 minutes. What you're really looking for is you want to make sure that the internal temperature, that stuffing, is 155 degrees, especially if we cooked it before. We want to make sure it's safe to eat. But with a quail that size, it's not going to take it very long to get there. So we've got our cranberries cooking down with a little bit of the brown sugar. I'm going to follow it up with some of my favorite fall spice, just a touch more cinnamon, just a little bit. A little bit goes a long way, as Tim and I were talking about on the break. And I always like to also add in a little bit of savory. So I'm going to add just a little bit of thyme to mix in there with it. All right, and then my favorite part is we're going to hit it with a little bourbon. All right.
If you notice, it's already open, Chef.
And you're lucky it has something in it.
I know. I didn't know how much he needed, so I was being good.
So it's always important if you're cooking with spirits at home, bourbons, things like that, to be very careful cooking over an open flame because it is flammable. So it's always best to pull that pot off away from the burner.
Absolutely.
Add your spirit to it, then add it back to the heat. Otherwise, we could end up with a big fireball and a big mess. So.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah. So now what we'll do is just going to kind of let this cook down just for a minute or two. Kind of let those cranberries start to burst a little bit, let that liquid thicken up a little bit, and season it with just a tiny bit of salt, tiny bit of pepper.
All right. Well, through the magic of TV, I know the quail is just about finished.
Right, yeah, we're just about done.
How y'all like this speedy oven we got?
Look at that. Look at that. I need one for the kitchen.
All right.
Yeah. All right, so here's our quail. Comes out, so it was about 10 or 12 minutes in the oven. Again, it doesn't take long. We just always want to make sure that we check it and it's up to temp and safe to eat. All right, so we're going to take a little bit of our sweet potato puree. We're just going to put that right down in the middle of our plate. Make a nice little nest, nice little home for the quail to sit.
Beautiful.
And we're just going to sit our quail right on top, just like that. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of this cranberry right on top. All right, so that a little bit of the sweetness, a little bit of that tartness. It's going to go really well with kind of like the salty smokiness of that stuffed quail.
It's like Thanksgiving on one plate. I mean, think of that. It is amazing. All the flavors are there in one plate. I love it. That looks absolutely fabulous, Chef.
There it is, the cornbread stuffed quail. Stu, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Kevin.
Really
I appreciate
it.
it. Thank
so
you.
much. Give it up for
All right,
Stu Plush, everybody. Nicely done. We hope everybody in the rooms enjoyed the show. Have you? Yeah. Well, you're going to have a chance to take a taste of this. For folks at home whose mouths may be watering, if you're wanting to be a part of our show, you can do that by logging on to mintjuleptours.com. If you want more episodes, simply log on to YouTube, seek out Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs, and subscribe. For Tim Laird, I'm Kevin Harned. We'll see you next time on Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs.
The Wine Rack, bringing you wines, beers, spirits, and cheeses of the world for over 18 years. Local, independent, and now offering delivery from the heart of Crescent Hill and online at wineshoplouisville.com.